The night after 9/11, I couldn't sleep. I was overwhelmed by a kind of malaise, and it went on for days. It wasn't just the suffering that we'd all seen on TV, the towers on fire, the jumpers, the annihilation of an entire neighborhood. It was something more. It was the knowledge that other human beings, people not so different from any of us, had done this thing, and had done so willingly and even enthusiastically. They sat down and plotted mass murder, and day after day, and week after week, they worked their plot to its end, unrestrained by guilt or conscience. I couldn't sleep because I had just discovered that there really were men out there who had dedicated their lives to the task of killing me and you and everyone we know and everything we love. The prospect of their success worried me, but something else unnerved me more: the existence of such hatred. We live in a remarkably peaceful and orderly society, a society that requires extremely high degree of cooperation and trust among neighbors and strangers, something that these men hoped to destroy. I didn't think that they had very many sympathizers or supporters, but I also worried that it might not take many terrorist acts to crack our social order. Give a society a few violent shakes, and sometimes things fall apart. 10 years later, we can see that in many ways we did overreact to that fear. The United States, Canada, and NATO had no choice but to invade Afghanistan after the Taliban refused to turn over Osama bin Laden. But for years after, an obsessive focus on bin Laden and al-Qaeda, and a willingness to believe that this tiny organization had tentacles everywhere, caused some governments, and in particular the Bush administration, to behave in ways that history will not judge kindly. From the kidnappings known as extraordinary rendition, to the torture of prisoners that for a time became routine at Abu Ghraib, Bagram, Guantanamo Bay, and a host of secret black sites, the United States let a legitimate quest to find a small group of men hiding in Pakistan and Afghanistan trump and warp all other objectives. The ripples from the al-Qaeda obsession continue to be felt. Just last week, it was discovered that the intelligence services of the US and Britain were at one time closely cooperating with Libyan dictator Muammar Gaddafi, and even delivered dissidents suspected of al-Qaeda links into his hands for imprisonment and torture. The former site of the Twin Towers was until recently an open pit, a giant wound at the heart of America. Now, it's just one more piece of the eternally changing Manhattan. A nearly completed memorial occupies part of the site, but it's dwarfed by new office towers, hemmed in by the rush of traffic, and surrounded on all sides by that loud symbol of progress: construction. When I was there a few weeks ago, moms and toddlers were playing in the waterfront park a block away. Across the street, hundreds of office workers enjoyed lunch outdoors, next to the yacht harbor. So much of the outcome of what used to be called the War on Terror has been a mixed bag of misgiving, unintended consequence, and regret. Not this. The scene in Lower Manhattan was utterly, beautifully banal. It looked like victory. For The Agenda with Steve Paikin, I'm Tony Keller.